The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Current and Joseph Christina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 156. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Current. On last week's episode, we opened our listener mailbag and spent the entire show answering all of your interesting questions. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS.
Hey, Joe, we're back. How you doing?
Hello, my friend. We are back. How's everything over there?
Everything is going good.
Excellent.
Going well, keeping busy. Actually, keeping very busy. And, you know, we kind of want to apologize a little bit for the lack of a show last week.
Yeah.
You and I have both been swamped.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
With projects and work and stuff and, you know, family obligations and everything. It's just, sometimes it gets a little crazy.
Yep.
You know,
Summertime. Things get kind of nuts.
Yeah, exactly. And my kids are getting out of school in a week, and I'm going to have them banging around the house now.
Yeah, no, that's
for 3 months. So
yeah,
it is what it is. It's the summertime, so we're going to do our best to keep it coming every week. But,
absolutely.
You know, things happen.
Yeah, if we miss one, we definitely apologize. So anyways, let's get right into it, because I know we have a full show. Once again, last week, like I said in the opening, we answered a ton of questions, but this week we're going to answer one, right?
Yeah, we'll actually just kind of read off a comment. So Ed Krisiak, he's one of our regular loyal listeners. We actually met him in New York at Photo Plus Expo this past October.
Yeah, great guy.
Yep. So he had commented on our show post on our Facebook page, and we just kind of wanted to read it and then add to it a little bit. So he said, 99% of the time you guys provide the best information.
That's right.
I'm going to call you out on the double strap though, and with a little LOL type of deal.
Yeah.
I shoot weddings and events and use 2 cameras. I have used the carry speed double strap and felt like I was part of a SWAT team. I'm using the hold fast moneymaker double camera strap now. I feel like I'm dressed up for a wedding instead of preparing for war. The strap is all leather, well constructed and balanced. It is pricey at over $200, but well worth every penny. And then he gave us a link to look at some pictures on Flickr. And if you're watching the video, you'll see those on screen. Yeah. He says, love the show and thanks for all the great content.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, Ed. We did look at this strap that you use, and it is gorgeous. It's
beautiful.
It is
really
beautiful.
Is.
It's like, I think it's bridal leather. I think that's what it said.
Yeah, chestnut English bridal leather. It's beautiful. I mean, it is like a high quality build. Like a real high quality belt or something would be,
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I have horses near me, so I know exactly what this leather looks like, and it does look like that bridal type of really good high quality leather. I like it a lot. What I do like about it is it does not have any type of strap in the front, like keeping it together. Right. All the strapping is in the back. I do like that. The thing that I don't like is the color. I would like to see this in black. Because when you go to events, you're normally wearing your quote unquote blacks anyways. It would just completely melt away into your black and you wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
I would like to see it in black, but I do like this. I like the camera positioning where the cameras are actually being positioned on you. I do like that a little bit better than the black wrap. Now I tell you what, I found a picture of one of these cameras. Yeah, the guy holding a camera using one of these black rapid double straps, and I have it up on the screen here. Hopefully, you guys can all see it if you're listening. Sorry, but nothing against this guy. I don't know who he is or whatnot, but this is what you do not want to look like. If you go to an event and you look like this, it's a problem. Some of these events you have, maybe it's a bride. A bride doesn't want you looking like this. If you're,
I mean, as Ed said, you don't want to look like you're on a tactical team,
Right.
you're
SWAT.
preparing for war. And yeah, that's what this guy looks like. He's got all these straps in different areas, these cameras and the bags hanging from him and stuff.
Right.
I mean, this is great and fine if you're doing sports and you're on the sidelines, which
Exactly.
in this picture, it looks like he is. Potentially, I see grass, I see a walkway. Potentially, maybe he is at a sporting event. But yeah, you do not want to look like this at a wedding.
Yeah, you just absolutely, you can't. It just does not look good. If you're at like an event and you have like millionaires and it's black tie, you go like this and people look at you like, what is this guy doing? It's kind of so.
Who's the geek?
So, anyways, double strap, Ed. I like it. I like yours. I don't like this one. And mainly for the reason I do like that this is black, but I don't like that whole stuff in the front. You just really want to be incognito a little bit. You don't want all of this gear kind of in your face, so to speak. You want to be the sophisticated photographer that people want to hang out with and talk and like and discuss with, and not someone that's kind of the SWAT team that's in there, like literally shooting with a sniper rifle. So, yeah. Anyways, bottom line, Ed, thanks for the comment. Really, really do like the strap that you're using. I would say I have not used that strap, but just by the looks of it, I could definitely say I would recommend people to go and take a look at this if you do need to have two cameras on you at all times. I do like this a lot. It's very nice.
Yeah. Very cool. Thanks, Ed.
Moving on.
Yeah. So you found this article, which is kind of interesting. So Google is reportedly launching 180 satellites for global internet connectivity.
Yeah. Kind of cool, right? So they're trying. Okay. So the premise here is Google says, how are we going to get the 2/3 of the world that does not have internet connection? How do we get them connected so that we can sell them stuff? Like Amazon would say the same thing. How do we get these people connected so we can sell them, stuff? We can sell them products. We can get them on Prime or whatever. I would have to say to that is, the 2/3 probably are not going to want to buy your stuff. They're probably not going to want to buy Prime. They're probably not going to be doing too much purchasing because they're probably in a location that would prohibit that from happening. And the people that are in locations that have a lot of money, they're going to have some type of satellite connection already. Right. So, I mean, I get the idea of this. I just don't understand. This was around back in the 90s. If you guys remember, in the 90s, there was a guy, I forgot what his name was, but or a company. They spent, I think it was $9 billion on this whole satellite system they were going to do, blah, blah, blah. They ended up, the project was halted, Right. Google's looking at $1 billion, not 9, 1, to be able to make this happen. So obviously technology has changed from the 90s to, 2014 now. They can do it cheaper. Well, these satellites, they're talking about like 250-pound satellites, which are really lightweight, and 150 of them just coating, the area. I mean, okay, it's okay. For me, I want to see Wi-Fi. Obviously, you're not going to hit those
Wi-Fi, like a WiMAX type of network,
right? Where
it's actually on cell towers,
exactly,
and you can actually, just hook up your computer straight to it, get high speed. I mean, the cell towers are everywhere. I mean, sure, rural areas are going to be a problem. And I know that they've experimented with WiMAX technology, like down in Philadelphia and stuff, and with different results, I mean, I like it. I think that is going to be the way to go. I don't think the satellite stuff is going to work.
I don't
realistically, not efficiently.
Yeah. So
the satellites they have now, I mean, you're getting download speeds really, really fast,
right? Relatively
fast from the satellites, but all your upload clicks are going out through a 56K dial-up modem.
Yeah, like a modem or something. So that does the latency there is just prohibitive. It's very hard to work with that type of latency. It's just it's just nuts. So they had the satellites. What they're talking about, they've tried balloons. They originally were thinking about balloons like coating the area. Then they went to drones. These autonomous solar powered drones for basically ISPs in the air. That's what it was. And then of course the satellites. So they've been working on this for quite some time. if Google says they're going to do it, chances are they'll do it. I don't know what's going to all happen, but I do agree that this WiMAX or something similar to that,
Something similar, yeah,
is really the way it needs to go, because it's already there. These poles are sitting there. They're already broadcasting continuously. The microwaves are there already. Just add to it. Stay away from these things, but add to it. But push out that data from there. They're everywhere. It wouldn't take much to put two 180s, to coat one way and 180 to coat another way, Wi-Fi from every one of these. You'd be surprised on the amount of people that would have fast access at that point. But we've talked about this before. Do they want that? Do they have the infrastructure to be able to provide that? That might be more of an issue than anything, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, if high-speed access was available to everyone and they're hooked up with their laptops and their phones and all their other devices, downloading videos and audio and big files, it's really going to put a big strain on the infrastructure, on the backbones of the internet.
Right.
Not that they couldn't improve it, but it's going to be costly to improve over time.
It's just like FP&L down here. They don't replace.
Yeah, you love FP&L.
Oh, I would love it. Yeah, the power company, if anyone doesn't know. So they don't improve, and they don't update, and they don't fix poles that are weathered, and then all of a sudden a hurricane comes through, and now we're a huge outage. Whereas they have a ton of money to do it, but they don't. They just wait to the last minute. So it's going to be the exact same thing. But anyways, we need to go on. Adobe, once again, in the news, they're talking about Creative Cloud. And what's kind of cool is they're going to be introducing this method of downloading and installing past versions, older versions. And that's great for you, my friend. I know that was one of the sticking points on why you were thinking, do I do CC? Do I not do CC? I have an older machine. Do I have to use the latest and greatest? And what has come out is you do not. And what's cool is you can install multiple versions. So you can have, like, let's say a Photoshop 5, Photoshop 5.5, a Photoshop 6, CC, whatever. And that really helps people like you that are going to be sending your illustration work to maybe different houses, different locations.
Right. I mean, what I like about it is running an older machine like I am.
Right.
All right. Let's be honest. It's not older. It's old.
Right. But it still works.
But it still works. It works great. I mean, I'm using it right now to record the video for the show, and it's running flawlessly.
Yeah.
But I can only run Snow Leopard on it. I'm maxed out. Well, no, that's not true. I can run Lion, but then that would be it.
Yeah.
And how much further, even if I could run Creative Cloud on my machine right now, for how much longer will I be able to?
Yeah.
But being able to have a Creative Cloud subscription and at least use the older versions of the software with older operating systems and older hardware, it expands Adobe's market, first off, but it's good for the user. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
With that said, I did see a rumor this week that new iMacs are going to be introduced supposedly the week that the show comes out.
Right.
And I'm really interested about that. Faster processors, lower prices. I think I'm at the point now where I'm probably just going to pull the trigger and probably end up with a 27-inch iMac.
You're going to be waiting at the door for Apple to open to go grab. Yeah. So, guys, we talked about it last week, but Adobe is going to be revealing also, I think it's, when is it, June 18th, I think, in their keynote.
Yep.
They're going to be talking about this. They're going to be talking about their touch-friendly Photoshop for Creative Cloud and this other stuff. So definitely on the 18th, we'll have some new news out of Adobe also. So wait for that.
Yep, we'll have more Adobe on the show next week. I'm sure everybody is thrilled to hear us.
Yeah, as long as it's positive and not negative, it's good.
Yeah, we don't bash them all the time.
Yeah, unless they need to be.
So the next thing that we found is actually kind of pretty cool. It's called an iStick, and this is a Kickstarter program, and actually a pretty amazing one at that. Mm-hmm. Basically, what the iStick is it is a USB flash drive that has a USB plug on one end, and then you slide this little lever, and a lightning plug pops out of the other end. So you can plug it in your iPhone, your iPad, your iPod Touch.
Right.
And it's designed to be able to easily and safely transfer files from your computer to your mobile device and vice versa.
Yeah, this is awesome. We've been looking for something like this from way back the very first iPhones, 2s or the one, the originals where you're like, how do I get my stuff off? And you always have
it was so complex.
Oh my God. Then you have to log in through and plug it into your computer and then get in. It was just a headache.
Through iTunes. And
iTunes,
everything.
we know how wonderful that software is.
Yeah.
It's as bad now as it was when it was created, but regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is really neat. Just plug in a stick, download everything, and then off you go. And I tell you what, I mean, wow, just speeds of that alone, it will be
big time saver,
crazy.
and what's cool about the device is it will allow you to transfer videos, photos, files. You can stream video from the device into your iOS device, which is really cool. Obviously, you could stream it on your computer as well. So it's fast enough to handle video, which is awesome. The issue I have is the expense.
I know.
From the pricing that we're seeing on them, they're not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
It's 8 gig is $129, 16 gig is $169, 32 gig is $199, 64 gig is $299, and 128 gig is $399.
Yeah. So we were talking about this, and chances are this expense is probably royalties. It's probably that leasing, the renting, or of that connector architecture.
Yeah, that lightning connector. It's a proprietary connector.
It is proprietary.
So I'm sure they're licensing
it's not
the
cheap.
usage from Apple.
Yeah, that's probably where it comes in. But I tell you what, guys, we always love these type of Kickstarters, and this one just rocket shipped. They wanted, I think it was 100K was like their goal. Yep. And within 3 days, 3 hours. 3 hours, they surpassed it. It was like
3 hours of launch. They met their goal. And as of recording right now, they've far exceeded that 100,000. They're up over $975,000.
Yeah, with 3 days to go. So they're going to be over $1 million, 10 times what they wanted or required to be able to create this thing. So awesome. They're not worrying about paying Apple at this point. Seeing those numbers, I'm going to say Apple will buy them out within a year. Or right. Because that obviously people want it, need it, and they're not balking at the price, I guess.
No. And this is proof of concept too. So other, memory manufacturers, flash drive manufacturers and stuff will see this and say, "Oh, we got to do this too." So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there'll be competition, and those prices will come down and everything. And but it's cool. Competition's good.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
They're expected to ship in August of 2014. So if you're really interested and you want to get in, you hear this on the day of release, go check Kickstarter. We'll have a link. You might be able to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, guys, we have a lot more for you. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and hear from one of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
Okay, so we're back, and in the news, Canon has launched their own cloud storage service called, I believe, Irista.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. I mean, it's along the lines of a Dropbox or a Google Drive or the other offerings from Microsoft and similar to iCloud and what have you. But this is something that has been in beta testing for several years in Europe. And I guess they finally decided that they're going to release the free plans here in the States and to other countries throughout the world. They are going to have premium plans for it, but those are only going to be available to certain territories in Europe as of right now.
Right.
I'm sure that'll roll out, but I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I don't. Well, so Canon. I mean, they do cameras, they do video, but you know, do they understand scalable internet file sharing, connectivity, networking,
And cloud services,
cloud stuff? I don't know. I mean, unless they did like Adobe and hired a team and are going to try to get it right, I don't know. It just seems like more of the same. Okay, cloud is cloud is cloud. There only needs to be so many providers. We always say there needs to be a ton so that the price goes down. But I mean, when you see S3, when you see, you know, all of these big ones that are already out there for cloud, I just don't know. I could see Adobe doing it because of their internals and being able to internally share their software. I could see that. But this Canon, I mean, okay, so what, their point and shoots are going to just wire, you know, Wi-Fi, shoot them up there into the cloud or whatever. I don't know. I mean, is that every camera company is going to have cloud service? I don't know. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But if they want to do it, go ahead and spend the money on it. See if it flies or not.
See if it flies. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, the idea is with this service is that it's only going to be for photos and in the future videos, but not for you know, other types of file sharing, doc files and stuff.
I tell you what, Trev, we know how big video files are. We know how expensive it is to host.
Yep.
We know that when a lot of you guys download our show, how much bandwidth it actually consumes. If Canon doesn't get it right,
part of the reason why our videos are up on YouTube.
That's
now.
right. If Canon does not get it right, and they do allow video, and they do this 10 gig, they're going to be in a world of hurting. I'm telling you, they don't even know what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. What I'm going to guesstimate is when they go video and that 10 gig number, all of a sudden they're going to be like, there's going to be restrictions like Vimeo, only 250 meg or only X amount per week or per day, or only this, that, or other thing. Oh, wait a second. Now it's going to have to be paid if you want to do video. There's going to be so many stipulations because they're going to get hit so heavy and hard. And it's going to spin.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, you know, whatever. We'll keep an eye on it like we do with all these new technologies.
See what happens.
See what the feedback is on it. First impressions, though, it's probably not something that I'm going to get involved with.
Right.
You know.
But you never know.
You never know. Never say never.
Yeah, so a few shows back, we were talking about Nikon, how they've been dropping the ball a lot, and all kinds of issues, let's just say. D600 was a huge problem, huge issue. And we were saying how, whoa, this is going to be expensive, Nikon, expensive. Well, finally, the numbers are out on the expense, right?
Yeah. Close to 18 million.
Yeah.
They're allocating for repairs of D600s.
Yeah.
You know, which, all right, great. Thankfully, Nikon owned up to the fact that there was a problem. They made public announcements and everything. They said that they're going to fix them. They're going to fix them X amount of times.
Right.
And if there's still problems, they're going to replace them with the 610s.
Right.
I mean, all this great stuff. So they, you know, Nikon knows they dropped the ball, and they know that they did not handle it very well. I mean, they actually quoted that.
Yeah.
That they didn't handle it very well in the beginning, and they know they did a lot of reputation damage. So they are going to continue to fix these D600s that have problems. They're going to continue to make good on it. And they're going to be working hard to try and fix their reputation within the community. I mean, people that got ticked off and switched, just got rid of their equipment and went to another manufacturer, those people may never come back.
No.
But at least for existing Nikon users, this will hopefully help them feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy about the company that they're, you know, got all their gear with. You know?
Restore confidence. Restore confidence. That's it. That's the name of the ball game at this point. Put out those fires. So gonna have to pay up. If they're saying 18 million, I'd say double it.
It's going to end up being a lot
at
more,
least,
I'm sure.
yeah. They're not going to quote the exact numbers. There's a lot of 600s out there, and if they have to go and send the 610s, that's going to be even more costly. So the fix is the fix. That 18 million is probably the fix. But as they start getting into sending out those D610s, that's going to be even more. So, anyways, moving on. Apple. And they're
Yeah. So last week was WWDC.
yes,
And unfortunately, we were not able to get a show out in time for us to talk about all the wonderful things that came out of WWDC. But again, it's more of a developers conference, not a consumer-oriented conference. So there's less consumer-y type news that comes out of it. But so a lot of you have probably heard most of the bits, but we do want to, talk about a couple little things that came out of it, because we wouldn't be a photography show if we didn't, right?
Yeah, the photo stuff. So manual camera control is very, very interesting, which is coming to the iOS 8. And we know that I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I gave you guys a good freebie. I think it was called Pro Cam or Cam Pro or something like that. Let me see what it was here. Let me see. Yeah, it was called Pro Cam, and it used to be an expensive app, and now it's free. And I think this is probably why. So what they're doing is they're opening up their API to all their developers, which will give them the ability through API calls to access time-lapse modes, control exposure, control focus, control the camera's timer, burst mode, and also some panoramic stuff. So this will be all through API, whereas before, like through that application, which I told you guys to go grab because it was free a couple of weeks ago, where they actually had to hard code it. They had to actually create this, and they did, and they did it well. Well, now it's going to be available to all the developers for basically free, and it's going to be just a simple API call. So every application is going to have these things now.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool because, even though Apple is rolling out access to manual controls, they're not rolling it out through the core camera application.
Right.
So all of these photo app developers, and there is a lot of them, they're not all of a sudden going to be
obsolete.
Gone, because this API call, this interface is only going to be available to the third-party apps, app developers. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I do like that. They are also added what's called Photo Kit, which allows third-party photo apps to directly connect with the iOS photo app and the camera roll, and which means you can save directly in the camera roll without having to make multiple copies. Everything will sync. There's this whole new iCloud syncing thing that they're coming out with. So all of this stuff will smoothly integrate now into all of your devices and everything, which is really good. I mean, I'm glad to see they made that type of move as well.
Yeah, they needed to do this. So iOS 8, hold your breath. It should be there any second, right?
Yeah, yep, it's coming out soon. They said in the fall, which is great. The next version of the Mac OS operating system is coming out in the fall as well.
Right.
So we'll ride Mavericks for another couple months, and then Yosemite comes out.
Yeah, and that's it. Gone. So anyways, moving on more on this iPhone stuff, Apple stuff. The one thing that's always been a problem with taking pictures with your smartphones, these flashes. The flashes are like mediocre at best. They're never right. And this company came out with one that is an external flash, which really looks interesting. It's a Bluetooth-enabled flash, right?
Yeah, we actually talked about this on a previous show. It was a Kickstarter program. And it's this external flash. It's like the size of a credit card. It's got a bunch of LEDs in it with different color temperatures. And basically a frosted plastic covering so it diffuses the light, so it's not harsh light.
Right.
The Kickstarter program was a big success. They're moving forward with it, and they're actually going to be shipping the week that this show comes out. So you could actually go and order them. But they are Bluetooth enabled, and through the app, it allows you to control color temp, the intensity of it and everything, which is really nice. And basically to shoot with it, you hold that in one hand, your phone in the other hand, you move it where you want the light, and bang, you're good to go.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I really like it. So you're looking at about $60. You can find it on bitemyapple.co. So take a look, guys. It's definitely interesting, especially if you are the guys that always take those iPhone photos and the light is never right. Well, here you go. $60, you can get it right. And what I do like is that color temperature stuff. It's going to be 3 color temperature settings, and you can change it according to the scene. I mean, that is so important. That's really great. Good.
Very cool.
Moving on.
Yes. So the last thing that we want to talk about today was something really cool that was going on last week. And Joe and I both talked about going to this thing, and we contemplated Joe was going to get airfare last minute and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So Samsung was running this event in New York City, right in Times Square, called Ditch the DSLR. And if you brought in an old DSLR, as long as it was working, it wasn't broken, the lenses, you had at least one lens attached to it and stuff like that.
Right.
You could actually trade it in, and they would give you an NX30 mirrorless camera for free. $1,000 camera
Yep.
for free. It's crazy. So I'm like, Joe, dude, you got to do this.
So I went, of
fly
course.
up, bring a couple DSLRs with you.
Yeah, and in the studio, I have a ton.
Yeah, you always
DS
talk about all this old gear you got. It's a good way to unload it.
I went and looked at airfare to New York, and I'm like, are these people out of their minds? I was in New York like about a month ago now, a month and a half ago. It cost probably $100 and some round trip, $200. They want $500 and some from me now. I don't know what is going on.
Last minute booking. That's why.
What the heck?
And they know you wanted to go to the Samsung event.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's no way. I can't spend $500 to go get it. So, yeah, we got a picture we're going to show of the line. People, there
Crazy.
was guys there that, what was it, 10 a.m. or something they got there? The
10
day
a.m.
before.
the day before. This guy like camping out on the streets
my
in Times
God.
Square to be the first guy in line when the event started at noon the next day.
They got the corral gating, it's, oh my God. But you know what?
It looks like a ride at Disneyland. I mean, it's
But you see, and
nuts.
this is we've talked about this in the past, guys. Samsung just gets it. They just understand people.
That's a great marketing thing.
They are just unbelievable at marketing. They are marketing experts. I mean, I don't even know. It's just amazing. The number of people there was just like if it was an Apple event and they're giving away free iPhones or something.
It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, not even giving away free iPhones. I mean, remember back in the day when, a new iPhone would come out and people would camp out on the streets the night before, and you'd have, 1,000 people in line. I mean, this is what it was like.
This is the turnout. Yeah.
The difference is Samsung gave away hundreds, supposedly, of cameras at $1,000 a piece retail price. I mean, that's a lot of marketing budget for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have Nikon spending $18 million on fixing a problem. You have these people, Samsung, probably spending less than $1 million, probably a couple $100,000, and the amount of goodwill that just went out there, and the number of photogs that are out there in a sea.
Promoting mirrorless technology.
Yeah, talking about it on their blog, talking about it on Facebook, talking about it on Twitter, talking about it. We're talking about it. Samsung just simply gets it. Kudos. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Every time I see a new Samsung thing, it's always like this new thing. They're just smart. And now what are they doing with the TVs? Now they're making like the TVs that are curved. The LED, the systems are now in an arc shape instead of just flat panel. They're no longer flat panels.
Ultra HD handling 4K video.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
In like in an arc type of format. They're constantly innovating. They're constantly coming up with new stuff.
Very cool. Kudos to Samsung.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
good
doing
stuff.
it right.
Anyways, guys, we need to get out of here, right?
Yeah, it is time. So, Joe, if people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Just find me on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Great, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
All right, guys, we are done for yet another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/156. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe. And we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.